Thank you so much for staying tuned. Yes, we have to bring everything together, put into our two together to have a robust discussion. One of my guests already is in the studio. Like they say in broadcasting, the show must definitely go on. We have two salient topics to really talk about, and I have a guest there with me in the studio to start off with a discussion. Like they say in broadcasting, the show will go on. All right, you want to take a look at, yes, the ban in a political gathering is like a gazette of some sort, so to speak, and many Edo citizens have been reacting about this. They've been talking about this. Many Nigerians, they have divergent views and, of course, and opinions about this. And my guest here in the studio is going to throw more light on this. But you shouldn't know whatever they say here on this platform is their opinion. It has nothing to do with ITV. We always do our best possible to make sure they follow the rules and regulations governing the airwaves. I'd like to start by introducing the man at my extreme left, a politician, an entrepreneur. Join me to welcome Dr. Samson Esibo. Welcome to TMI.
Good morning.
Right, it's been a while.
Good morning, my viewers. Yes, because of the Koro something, we're going to hibernate ourselves somewhere.
All right, all right. I said very close to him is a vibrant youth, a politician, of course, an engineer. You just name it. He's so versatile. Join me to welcome Esosa Amorobe. Welcome to TMI Sunday's edition.
Thank you very much, Wilson. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, here we are. The number of coronavirus, yes, in those states seems to be increasing. And of course, due to this, despite the fact that INEC gave Nigerians the assurance that they can comfortably organize elections despite the COVID-19 pandemic, especially the primaries and of course, Edo and Ondo election. It's like the virus is not relenting. The virus is not relaxing. The pandemic is still very much strong because we're recording increases in number of infected persons, 12,000 and counting in Nigeria. And of course, in Edo State, the case is not that different. And the governor saying, they say, look, if we go for this option of primaries or political gathering without using just a specified or specific space, is going to aid the spread of this virus. After all, what is election or what is politics or democracy when there are no humans to really enjoy this? Hence, he chose to put that in place to make sure that the citizens of Edo State, they are safe and shielded from this virus. But I don't think it went down too well with so many persons. Anyway, that's why you are here to really talk about this. Let me start off from Dr. Samson Esibo. What do you feel about this gazette, the ban on political parties, except you make use of the Samuel Umila Stadium with express permission from the Edo State government? Take it up from there.
Thank you, my moderator. To me, I think the gazette is uncalled for. It's self-centeredness. It doesn't work with us, with the stakeholders especially. INEC has given the go-ahead to conduct the election, that is going to make sure things works appropriately. INEC is given the mandate by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to register parties, to see that the ESCOs are in place, the election primaries, the parties primaries are in place, the election is well conducted, and the result announced. So I don't see any reason for any stakeholders like me to, along the line, shifted the modalities for the conduct of the election. Before you do that sort of gazette, you must have called a roundtable meeting of all the stakeholders. The governor is part of the stakeholder, is a participant like myself. We should be able to sit down and talk about the modalities. saying that because of the pandemic, you are now giving some sort of stringent conditions. I don't need to take permission. My party doesn't need to take permission from the government before I embark on my party's campaigns. No, because you cannot be a judge in your own or a supervisor in your own election. No. So for him to come out at the middle of the election, you know, just like when you are playing football, you don't shift the goalpost in the middle of the match. No. Right from the whistle, you go along with the guidelines of the match. So for the government or the governor to shift to say that the parties cannot do campaign unless it is Ogbemudia Stadium with a social number of people. No, it's not being done. That means because the foundation of this our election is based on campaign, based on the primaries election. For him to say this is how it's supposed to be, we can't agree with him. It doesn't go on with some of us. So we believe it should have a rethink and withdraw that gazette.
Okay. Now, you give an example of football. If you're almost at the middle of the game or towards the end of the game, you now shift the goal post or stop the game. But sometimes if there are issues, strong issues like health issues in football, the referee do have the right to pause the game for a while so that the players will be very fit to continue with the game. I'll come back to you on that. Sosa, what do you feel about this? On what he said, since INEC says they are ready, that placing a ban on such gatherings is going to impede the effectiveness of political parties to carry out the instructions, so to speak, of INEC so that the election can follow its due course, talking about timetable.
Well, before I make my assertions, I want to give some statistics. We have 192 wards in Edo State, for instance. And if I take the APC, the party that produced the incumbent governor, for example, let's say we have about 1,000 people registered as party members from the various wards. That will give a total number of 192,000 people. Let's even reduce that number. Let's say there are 500 registered members of the APC at the various ward levels. Now, multiplying that by 192, you'll be having 96,000 people, registered members. Let's even reduce that further. Let's say we have 250 registered members at the various wards. Multiplying that by 192, you are going to have 48,000 people gathered at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. For heaven's sake, what is the capacity of Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium? I don't believe that there is any stadium in the world that has the capacity to contain 192,000 people with social distancing in place. I don't believe that is possible. To the extent of this statistic that I have just read out, I am convinced that the ban on political activities in every other place, with the exception of the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, is an effort to thwart the peaceful conduct of primaries and election in Edo State. And if that is the case, can such a law aim at thwarting the peaceful gathering of the people, aim at carrying out the constitutional provisions of elections in Nigeria? Can such a law be obeyed? I very much have my doubts.
Can such a law be obeyed? You very much have your doubt. But let's take a look at the health issues. Now, if you go by statistics, in Edo State, we have 387 confirmed cases of coronavirus. And of course, we have a number of discharge cases, 92, and number of deaths, 19. For active cases, so to speak, 272, and testing is still ongoing. The number is like increasing. For what the governor said is going to peak by June 28th, at least to safeguard the health of the people, knowing how contagious this virus is. I don't think the governor is making a point. After all, if there are no persons that are healthy enough to go out there after the primaries to cast their vote, I don't think it's detrimental to the state. Dr. Sampson.
I don't agree.
But you're putting on your face mask already, though it's there beneath your chin.
That is part of what I want to emphasize upon.
Okay.
If the people in the village, in the rural areas, knows the rules, the regulations of this COVID-19 pandemic safety, that is, put on your face mask, do the necessary washing of hands, social distance, they have been doing that. Why are you now telling us, we the political leaders, we know how to tell our members how to follow, to obey those conditions? Whether we are 1 million or more, there are ways. You go to, okay, can you tell me what is happening in the market, in marketplaces? How many thousands are there? I was with my wife, we went to this one of the market yesterday. See the congestion, see everything. It's even going to fall. All of them are going to contact the contagious disease at the same time. And this just for one day, this primary is for one day. And you are telling me that heavens will fall, everybody will contact the coronavirus. That is not true. We know the way to guide our members peacefully, orderly, getting the social distance, something. Everything went on fine. Why at this time you are now giving statistics? It has not been like that right from the start. But within the last couple of days, it continued to outnumber. Who tell us that this thing is really factual? The numbers, the figures they are giving from the government house or whatever task force in this state, how are you sure it is the real number?
We are talking about the NCDC and are the ones in charge.
No,
the governor is not in charge of testing. The NCDC, they are there.
It is the one they transmit to the NCDC, whatever they call it, NCDC, that they announce to the public. So the thing continue to multiply in Edo State. That will not stop the election. Let us follow, since we have accepted that we are going to do this election, because according to INEC, it will cause a constitutional crisis. So for someone to say, now, no, this is the way we want us to go, it can't be so. He must take permission from INEC. He must alter the constitution. So since his party, APC, has agreed to go direct primary, they should find the modalities to do it. Okay. Because the way they are going now, if care is not taken, they may truncate this election. And we pray it should not happen.
All right, now there was a red flag raised by INEC talking about security situation in Edo and of course Ondo State.
Yes. And
the Research and Security agents telling them to please nip it in the bud. They are getting feelers that there may be skirmishes here and there in course of the primaries. I don't think is a source of concern for the Edo State government to really say, fine, if that is the case, to really forestall this from happening. Let this primary be done in a venue where the security apparatus will have the strength to really safeguard the lives of persons coming in there for the primaries. So, sir.
Before I will comment on that, let me say this and put it in the public domain for it to be disputed. Any legal proclamation infringing on the fundamental rights of Edo citizen to peaceful gathering, to life, and any of such fundamental rights is to the extent of that legality illegal in itself. Now, if any law is legally passed, infringing on all of these rights that I've just mentioned, that are fundamental and universal, to the extent and even beyond that, it is even illegal, and the people has the right to disobey such order. I'll cite an example before I come back to your question. In the United States of America, George Floyd was killed by policemen. And before you know it, there were bans, there were curfews set up here and there by various state governments. The people disobey because they believe it is their right to come out and protest against any form of injustice. Ditto the killing of an innocent man, so to say. So, it is to that extent I believe that Edo people, not just APC, are going to resist any draconian law that infringes on their fundamental right. Now, let's now come to security that you've talked about. First and foremost, I don't believe that gathering about 48,000 people, 12,000 people in a particular venue will be the best security plan. I don't believe so.
Are you not saying that the information is wrong? Because right now it's like a red flag that this may happen security-wise.
No. I'm not going to dispute the security report because I'm not a security official and neither am I a security agent. So they know where they got their information from. And the governor is the chief security officer of the state. You cannot take that from him. So he may have his intelligent information. Yeah. However, what I'm saying is that gathering about 12,000 people, 48,000 people for contestation in a single venue, I don't believe that that is the best security plan. More so, in this state, we have been watching TV and seeing it reported that bombs are flying at homes. People are being attacked. And you want to bring all of those people together in a single venue where somebody can, throw a bomb inside and I don't believe that is the best security plan, in my own opinion.
All right, so what about you, Dr. Samson Isibo? Talking about security challenges.
I don't agree with him. We are saying two things. We are talking about the pandemic and security. There are two things apart. The pandemic cannot cause any insecurity. If, as I've said earlier, we the party leaders, we know how to discuss with our members, we know how to instruct them.
But still, there have been cases of violence despite the instructions of party leaders.
Pandemonium, because of the pandemic.
No, apart from the pandemic,
you are trying to mingle the two together. Wait a minute.
All right.
I'm just trying to correct that impression that because of the coronavirus there will be insecurity. And no, there's nothing like that. Coming to the insecurity proper, this is not the first time they will do direct primary either at Ogbe Stadium or in the localities. There has been no any hue and cry. So if the game is played according to the rule, there will be no any injustice. But I don't want to sound threatening. The people will revolt, you know. Which people? Which people? All the people APC members all people for one faction. So no people will stake his neck to go and die for any party or any government, no. So if anybody say, go and die, so first of all, let your Pekin go front first, let him go and die. So don't threaten anybody, say they will threaten, they will go hellfire. Nothing will happen. It will come and go. So follow the guidelines, there will be peace, justice for everybody. So that is what we're emphasizing. We are not in APC. So we are concerned with the other parties. Don't carry your brouhaha, come and put on our head, the other parties. Let us follow the rules laid down by INEC. That's what we're emphasizing. We don't want say because a party is in power, it can just manipulate the Constitution of the Federal Republic or the INEC guidelines. No, we won't agree. Instead, if the government refuses to revoke that gazette, we go to law court. We will test it. Because that is the foundation of our existence as a party. We want to choose our representative in a very fair, free, and peaceful atmosphere, not any manipulation on the pretext of coronavirus. No, that is not true. We won't allow that. We test it in the court of law. If INEC did not come out to say something about it, we will not allow it.
Yeah, all right. Now he talked about testing it in the court of law because from what he said, they don't belong to APC. That nobody should use what is happening in APC to rub off on other political parties. I'm talking about testing in the court of law. Don't you think it's going to truncate the timetable in those states when you talk about elections, thereby truncating the smooth transition, so to speak, of democratic dispensation in this state?
Mr. Wilson, you are very much on point, and that is exactly my point. That the gazetted law or proclamation by Edo State government is aimed at thwarting the peaceful conduct of primaries and elections in Edo State.
No, that may not be the aim.
Now, to this extent, I want to, why I believe that is the aim is this. The spokesman of the governor who had resigned recently in person of Right Honorable Paul Ombamo, he was on your program yesterday, I suppose. He said something in one of his pieces, in one of the pieces that he wrote. He said, I know this war will end without a negotiation. It will be a surrender. That was, I'm quoting verbatim, I'm lifting that quote from his own statement. That means a war has been declared on members of the APC who may not be...
Hold on. Now, this is where I step in. All right, watch your emotion. Nobody is worrying. Nobody is fighting. Please watch your terms. Please watch your terms. So just calm down, okay? Calm down. Nobody declared a war on anyone. All right? Please go ahead.
Like I said, this is all about, I believe that the proclamation is all about forcing the people that are not on the government side to surrender and bringing them to a venue where they are going to surrender. And that, of course, will not happen.
Surrendering, not surrendering. Nobody is talking about war here. We're trying to, find a peaceful way out.
Exactly. I just lifted the quotes. I lifted the quote. Those were not my words. I just lifted the quote of the spokesman of the governor. And I'll quote again. I know this war.
He's no longer the spokesman of Edo State government.
That was until recently.
Yeah. So he has resigned. So let's just leave that at that. Okay. Now, since talking about
past event.
All right. Now, since talking about other political parties, are you now saying that they are going to use direct primaries format to bring out their candidates? Is that what your party want to use?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, it depends. You can use indirect, you can use direct. It depends on your party national guideline, instruction from the NWC of each party. They will give the directive. So it is not for any state chapter to say this is the way they want the things to go, because they know that this type of war, which my partner is mentioning all the time, it will emanate from the state controlling the primaries. But if it is from the national, they are umpire. They will be fair to everybody.
Anyway, the war will not come for the state primaries. Let's just hope for the best right now.
What each party will use depends on their different perspectives. It may be indirect for my party. It may be direct for another party. It depends. So it is not a straightforward something. It can be either of the two, and it's in the constitution. You can use indirect. You can use direct. All are geared towards getting the authentic candidate for your party.
All right. Now, from what you said, lifting a quote from the former Information or Communication Commissioner, talking about Honorable Barrister Paul Ohabamo, from what you said, he says it's going to be a case of surrender. What if no one wants to surrender? Do you see what happened in Zamfara or in Rivers State, even in Bayelsa State, playing out itself in Edo State because of this crisis that is brewing in the APC?
Well, I don't believe that there will be a repeat of Zamfara or Bayelsa or any other place that the APC lost at because they couldn't conduct a proper
But Polito are saying
primaries.
that that is where or what is building into right now.
That is wrong because I have said it before that there are bodies that are constitutionally empowered to conduct primaries. And that body is the National Working Committee. The National Working Committee will be coming to Edo State with a mandate to conduct a peaceful, free, and fair primaries. And whoever emerges from that primaries, the party will line up behind that person.
But that is where the confusion is right now. Direct and indirect. We are hearing so many things happening. Now, he talked about testing it in court. And when we talk about court, it may take time.
The direct or in the mode of primaries,
Yeah.
whether by consensus, whether by direct or by indirect, the power to also set that mode of primaries is also vested in the National Working Committee. And they've released a statement to that effect that they are going to go with direct primaries. And they will come and carry out their mandates. I believe they will come and carry out
Without
their
the governor's consent, after all, he's the chief security officer of the state. He says, look, no political gathering.
The governor
Yes.
is an interested party. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the right to make laws. I've said that before, or I mean to make executive orders or proclamation. Is within his right. But if the laws or the proclamations are not in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or with other higher proclamation, to the extent of that is proclamation, it becomes null and void. It becomes illegal. I've just said it that even if laws are made and it infringes on your fundamental rights that are universally acclaimed, to that extent, even that law that is legally made becomes illegal. And it cannot stand because the people will be bound to naturally, by law of natural justice, reject it. Otherwise, I cited an example in the United States of America. I will cite another example again. Once upon a time, the entire enclave of the United States of America were supposed to be a domain of the Crown of England. But the people revolted and rejected it. And today we have the largest, biggest, and possibly the oldest democracy in the world today. And those state people are going to, I've said it and I'll repeat, and those state people will reject any draconian law that is going to infringe on their fundamental rights.
Anyway, that is your own statement, your own feelings, not the feelings of all those citizens, because people vary in their own opinions on rule. Now, to end the discussion, because I'm a legal practitioner, to throw more light on this talk, do you see this ending in court? Dr. Sampson.
Yes, so I've said it now. It may end in court if reasoning cannot prevail. That this, my partner here has said it, if it infringes on my own right to canvass for vote, to assemble my supporters, to listen to my manifesto, because according to INEC guidelines, campaign starts as from 27th of June. So if this thing is there to truncate that schedule, then the way forward is for me to go to court. The court is the last hope of every man or woman. I will go. Nobody can use executive power to truncate my desire to be a candidate or to get contested for in the election. So that is it. I will go to court. Others can go to court, not only me. I'm speaking my own mind. Others are sitting there grumbling that they are going to take some steps lawfully to see that this draconian law, this ineffective law, this unpracticable law is revoked forthwith.
All right.
And I want to add that there have been legal fireworks since the beginning of this dispensation, and I don't see it ending soon.
Okay, you've heard both of them. They've spoken at length. It may just end in court. We don't know. Let's see how it's going to unfold. But the Gazette is still very much on the ground. Ban on political gatherings, only one venue given specified to host any political gathering with express permission from Edo State government. How do you think is going to fare? Anyway, we have other topics to really deliberate on, and I have a legal practitioner, Barrister Patrick Awo Osagie, waiting patiently to share his own opinions and, of course, thought on the proposed reconciliation of the Edo State House of Assembly, the impact on politics. We'll be right back.